The boy was quickly covered in oysters. Soon his entire body was covered. The whole body was absorbed by the shell. The mother immediately took him to the treatment room. The doctor started thinking about separating him. He tried salt water, but it didn't work. The shell sucked up the boy's nutrition. 24 hours later, the boy will melt. When the doctor didn't know what to do, he suddenly discovered that there were leeches in the treatment compartment. Maybe he crawled out of a pile of shells. There seems to be an opportunity. He put on protective gear to catch the leech, but suddenly the leech disappeared. The leech crawled into his protective clothing. He was so scared that he quickly took off his clothes. He suddenly discovered that the boy also had a lot of leeches crawling out. The doctor felt bad, so he immediately went to get the leech off the boy and threw it down. But in the blink of an eye, the leech disappeared. He picked up the acid in the leech, which is not the best cleaning agent. Thinking of this, the doctor immediately ran to the sea to catch the leech. But this type of leech parasitizes deep-sea monsters with very aggressive temperaments. It's not easy fighting monsters, but the doctor still tries to prepare poison gas to bring down monsters. The doctor started acting. He cautiously approached her. Take a knife and cut the leech on the monster's body. While he was working hard, the monster suddenly woke up, knocked the doctor to the ground, then rushed over. However, doctors are not afraid. The assistant next to him threw a rock at the monster's head. The monster saw this and didn't dare to do so, so it backed away and immediately disappeared. The doctor took the leech and started to do the experiment. Put leeches on the boy. Then just wait for the magic to happen. Sure enough, the next day, the shell on the boy's body disappeared, but his stomach grew bigger. Just today, while he was strolling by the beach, his stomach started to move. Not long after, the baby was born. The boy carefully opened the amniotic sac, and with the sound of crying, the baby came to life. He quickly tied the umbilical cord and put it in his mouth. Resist the pain of biting the umbilical cord. At this time, the monster also heard a baby's cry. When she turned around, the monster had come up behind her, ready to take the baby away. But the boy refused. But right now, there was no way to escape from the monster that opened its mouth. Seeing that he was still struggling, the monster stretched out its hand to catch the baby, then its hand released acid, so that the boy had to open its hand. Just like that, the baby was stolen. In the next second, the monster put the baby on his chest, then turned and jumped back into the sea, leaving the man behind, but the man won't give up easily. Today, he brought someone to catch monsters. At this point, the monster was killed. The boy cut open the monster's stomach with a knife. Found out that wasn't yesterday's baby. To find the monster, he removed the detector. Finally took the detector and started tracking the whereabouts of the monster. But the monster entered the cave, so the signal was cut off, and there was no trace of the monster. A group of people could only enter the cave to search for his whereabouts. They found a body here. When the boy opened it, luckily it was just the corpse of a sea creature. They continued to enter, and eventually found the monster sitting inside holding a baby. When they were about to kill, they found the monster feeding the baby. So the boy stopped, turned around, and left the cave. But unexpectedly, the baby drank the monster's milk and mutated. The baby turned into a big snake and ran out. After transforming, he wanted to become a fairy. Immediately came to a high mountain with trees. After eating it, he can turn into a dragon. The elm tree also sensed the danger and started gathering leaves. But that has no effect. The snake flashed and then rushed to the fairy tree. The fairy tree was quickly swallowed up by it. After swallowing it, his body started to glow green. Then the body enlarges, with tentacles and scales. The longer the variable, the longer it seems, and it seems that the elixir has an effect. Along with a bolt of lightning, the snake turned into a dragon. At this point, it begins to look for prey. At this time, a person appeared in the sky. The guardian of the tree, Adam, has arrived. He flew in front of the dragon. While facing the dragon, Adam let out a loud scream, but it didn't work. Next it was the evil dragon's turn to attack. He let out a huge scream. Adam was immediately thrown to the ground. He just died. The dragon is constantly looking for its prey. The boy became the target. The dragon attacks him. Flashes of scattered trees. Fortunately, the boy escaped. He kept running away. Run closer and closer. Seeing no way out, he jumped into a cave where the dragon was flying. The dragon, who had not seen the boy for a long time, could only scream angrily. Then very quickly he found another group of people. He flew in an instant. Luckily it's okay. Next, the boy found the Monk King sealed. Get ready to bring him back to life, as his heart grows at a rate visible to the naked eye. Then the plants on her body withered. As the milk flowed into her heart, she started to come back to life. It was easier for the man to squeeze the milk into his mouth. On the 10th night, the skeleton has formed, it will be finished soon. He kept adding milk. The heart is constantly activated. It didn't take long for the skeleton's head to start growing flesh. The man opens to check the growth rate. But her skin was glued to him. He took scissors to cut it. At this time, the skeleton let out a sound. He listened carefully, and found that his heart was working. Looks like he'll wake up soon. In order to speed up awakening, he poured a large jug of milk over it. So the whole body is immersed in milk. The next thing is to wait for a miracle to happen. But after waiting half a day, the body didn't respond at all. Maybe this failed. So they could only leave disappointed. But it was at that moment that a strange thing happened. The skeleton has sucked all the milk into the body. When the man returned to the messy room, the skeleton had disappeared, and only a broken desk remained. The skylight overhead also had a large hole. Just as he was suspicious, there was suddenly a light outside the door. He opened the door to see a skeleton floating in the air. The man fainted instantly. When he regained consciousness, the shaman was standing in front of him. It seems they actually revived it. At this time, the shaman raised his right hand. The man grabs it. Now the witch doctor cries and scatters the needles. It seemed the shaman was fully active. Next is the renovation. Very high combat power, defeat the evil dragon. The upgrade had met the battle requirements, but in order to fight the evil dragon, his body had to undergo an evolution. When his skills are ready to explode, then out and start growing rapidly. This skin is quite tough. Weapons cannot penetrate. When the whole body is covered, the defense is like an evil dragon. Hence, hitting the dragon would not deal any damage. At this point, his skin merged with his body, but the intense pain caused him to faint. 24 hours later, he was reincarnated, wearing the armor, the strongest human being reincarnated. Then exit the base. Get ready to fight the evil dragon. Right now, the evil dragon is still looking for a victim. Very quickly he found the shaman. Then immediately chase him. But now there are great powers that have no fear. He suddenly stopped in midair, waiting for the dragon to approach him. Soon the two will have a confrontation. At this moment, the leading evil dragon stretched out its long tentacles, fixing the king's limbs. At that moment, it took out a tentacle and stabbed him. But the skin of the king is not easily pierced. No matter how much force he used, he couldn't penetrate it. Suddenly the master started to exert energy. The loud screams rendered the dragon powerless to resist. He lost his balance and fell. Soon after, he fell to the ground without moving. But the shaman had no intention of stopping. Look at the fluttering dragon. The witch put her hands directly to her eyes, then plucked out her eyeballs. At this time, the dragon was almost dead. Not long after, the tree he swallowed slowly flowed out. A large tree grew from the dragon's body. The dragon's corpse became his food. The world of mankind becomes peaceful. Several thousand years later, greed returned and swiftly hit the energy of the fairy tree. The bloody storm will return again.